Great Scott. Great Scott. Great Scott.
Hello everyone, and welcome to another wonderful edition of Great Scott. I'm Scotty V, and thanks for watching. So, I'm not going to say I told him so, but yeah, I told him so. Does this mean that we're not going to see a Justice League movie before we see some other standalone superhero films? No. Although, we can only hope. The script for Justice League, written by Will Buell, if this has actually happened, who knows what is rumor anymore, who knows what is true, has apparently been tossed out the window. Several sources claim that the story was horrendous, but that it did feature Darkseid, who we all know is an awesome Superman villain that we all would love to see in live action. And after the success of the Avengers, who can really blame DC and Warner that they want to put together some sort of Justice League film? The issue that I have always had when I first heard that this was announced was that Marvel put in the work. Now, believe me, if you ask anyone, I am all about not doing any work. I'm all about being lazy, and I am all about not putting in my time and having success immediately. The problem is I never have had any success, and the reason for that is because I don't put in any time. I don't do what needs to be done. I don't do the extra things building up to that success. Now, this is a slight exaggeration. There have been times in my life, there have been things I have done. For instance, I am doing the musical Les Mis, and I'm playing Javert. We opened in April, and I have been going to rehearsals. I have been practicing at home. I have been singing the songs. On top of that, I have loved the musical for 25 years and seen it 8 times and seen the movie and watched the show, the movie that's not a musical. And, I'm very familiar with the material. And I continue to familiarize myself with the material by going to rehearsals. This would equate to DC actually doing some of what Marvel has done in actually releasing some successful films about the heroes who will then later be in Justice League, and this is something that they have seemingly made clear that they are unwilling to do by supposedly going straight ahead with Justice League. I'm still of the camp that it's possible that all of this was somewhat rumor. Not completely. If they could get something fantastic, if they could spark lightning in a bottle and make Justice League work without any preparation, then who wouldn't? Because as a business, as something that, as a place that wants to make money, as a place that wants to have the success that other companies have had, namely Marvel, with all of their films of late and Avengers, they would love to do that if they could. My contention is that they can't. The reason that Marvel has had the success that they have had is because they have done the legwork. They have gone to rehearsal. They have familiarized themselves with the material. They have done everything that they have needed to do. They have gotten the audience interested and invested in characters who are sometimes considered second and third and fourth tier. I was yelled at before when I said that Iron Man was kind of an unknown superhero. Now, obviously, he's super well known now. He's more popular than Superman. He's more popular than many of the heroes that would appear in Justice League. But before the Iron Man standalone film, and before Avengers, and before all these new animated series that were released because of Avengers, or because of Iron Man, or because of Spider, all of these characters that have become popular over the years because of the Marvel films, and the Marvel films being released continually on a yearly or semi-annually basis. These characters that were not popular, Thor, Iron Man, Black Widow, Hawkeye, people know Hulk, sure. And people may have seen the image of Iron Man, or maybe somewhat familiar with Iron Man, but they were not grade A heroes. They were not Spider-Man level. They were not Superman level as far as recognizability around the world. But Marvel has done what they have needed to do. They have spent almost 10 years preparing before the release of Avengers, or however long it was, 6 years, 8 years, whatever it was. The point is, they released several standalone films. They set up the Avengers. They didn't just say, we're going to rush right into it head first. You know, I remember a famous quote from, no, I don't know if it's famous, but Lois Lane once said, sometimes do things like jumping into the pool without checking the water level first. But Clark, that's the only way I know how to do it. And it sounds like the DC wanted to try and follow Lois's complaint about herself, and she was admitting that that was a mistake, jumping in without checking. And people would argue that, well, it was checked. Look how successful Avengers was. But Marvel didn't do it that way. And just because Marvel had success with it after years and years of tried and true formula of making cinematic superhero successes, Marvel had every right to go straight ahead and make Avengers. But they didn't just do it without doing everything else they needed to do first. And this is what I'm saying. I understand that everybody wants an immediate success. I would love to just walk out on stage, play Javert, and have a successful run of Les Mis without rehearsing. Anybody would. But you need to prepare. You need to do the things that need to be done in order to have a successful film. And part of that is familiarizing the audience with superheroes that are cool, superheroes that people go to see first. And we've already seen that without a good script and without a clear understanding of the characters, you can have a Green Lantern, you can have a Catwoman. Not to say that either or both of those characters will necessarily appear in Justice League. Catwoman is not a traditional member of the Justice League. However, Green Lantern is, and he's also kind of more on the level of what Iron Man was before his successful film. People in the general public now kind of know who he is because there was a film and there was an animated series. Both have been, well, the animated series now canceled and didn't even make really 2 full seasons, or I guess it's at 2 full seasons once it goes off the air. And the film, by most accounts, was horrendous. I saw it, and I didn't think it was horrendous, but it could have certainly been better. My reasoning for, I think the reason I liked it so much was because I expected to hate it. I expected it to be terrible. And as I said, critically, mostly it was considered terrible. It didn't make much money. It was a flop, and we don't know where it's going from here. Will they reboot that franchise? Will they reset everything back up? Will they do all these other heroes before they get to Justice League? I continue to say that they should. And in terms of Wonder Woman, and in terms of a new Justice League script, if in fact Will Beall was writing one, and if in fact this has been scrapped, I say, call me for story. Not necessarily for writing a script, although I could work with someone and come up with something, or I could do enough research to where I could figure it out. I've never actually written a script. I have written some play here and there, short plays, but I have some great ideas for Wonder Woman. I have some great ideas for how people could come together, but I believe that we need to have some standalone films first to re-familiarize people with a new batch of these heroes. Most people who are familiar with Linda Carter's portrayal as Wonder Woman are not all that interested in seeing a team-up superhero film. These were people who were fans of, you know, a campy TV show in the 70s, and as cool as Linda Carter could have been, and may have been in that series, just like Adam West in the Batman series, that's not what we're looking at these days. And most people who are familiar with Christopher Reeve as Superman are a little bit disenchanted so far with what we've seen from Man of Steel, but I think it's going to be great. And I think we need to get some other heroes in line with some of that before we move ahead with Justice League. I've said this before, and a lot of you may say, you know, who are you to say that, or you're wrong because we all want to, you know, I understand everybody wants to see a Justice League film if it could be great. But I don't believe it can be great until some of the legwork is completed, and until we know that DC finally has some idea other than Batman of how to bring a superhero to the screen successfully. Thanks everybody for watching. Remember, always look up in the sky.